Isekai 101. This is one of the few last panels as a three. If you're all okay with this, we're actually going live with this panel. Everyone fine with that? Yep. Cool! You had no choice in the matter. I was going to live stream this regardless. Alright, you're all here for Isekai 101. Alright, how many show of hands have actually seen an Isekai? That's pretty good. You guys know what Isekai means. Literally. It means to another world. We all wish we were in another world. Alright. I am your host, by the way, Wesley, or Wes, and I will be your panelist for this last panel. Alright. What is Isekai? In the media, it is a Japanese term for a theme for light novels, anime, manga, video games, and related things where you or the character ends up being magically transported to another world, and you learn from that point of view, from that character, and you learn as he learns about the new world and how you interact. So, this leads into the big part. So, how do you get Isekai? Oddly enough, this poor girl does not get Isekai. She gets turned into a zombie.
It's still a great show.
Still a great show. Zombie Saga, for anyone that doesn't know, but this was like the best comical clip I could find. Alright, so how do you get Isekai? Well, there are 6 types of Isekai that you can end up with. First is reincarnation, courtesy of Draku. Being summoned against your will, like when your mom asks you to take out the trash. Blink Isekai. Literally, you blink and you're in another world. Half of us do that mentally. Reverse Isekai is basically what we're going to be talking about. Date Isekai. And gamer dive Isekai. There are a whole bunch of other ones such as time travel and stuff like that. I'm mostly focusing on for some of those that you actually die.
Did you see that new anime that came out? The guy was Isekai to a toilet?
I have heard of that. Yes. Actually, there was one. It was a demon lore, new demon king something. It was an older one. But yes, the Isekai by toilet. But he was summoned via the toilet. Alright, so these are the 6 types of Isekai, and I will be going in depth on each and every single one of these. So getting reincarnated to a new world. You have just died. You have physically died in a horrible way by Truck-kun or other.
Or Frankie.
It could be worse if you die from a heart attack like Kazuma. Or a sneeze. So, every single one of these anime, every character died in some way or fashion. You got the, I keep forgetting the name of this one, but it's like deals with a librarian that dies in
a bookworm, I think.
Yeah, so, yeah, she gets reincarnated as a little girl. Okay, a woman going back into reliving a girl's life is not that bad, but the one below with those beautiful eyes, those suckling eyes that you just want to hug and take care of, is a 40-year-old sadistic businessman with a very good insight, and God is literally trying to, I almost said 18 plus. Not 18 plus, people. He does not like God. Let's just say that. As PG as I'm going to get it. He does not like God. He shoots at toy dolls that he thinks he's God. Trust me, which one was that one? I can't even say the word anymore. Isekai Quartet, when she finds out she nearly kills her, and she starts bawling her eyes out, trying to say, why did it do anything? Alrighty, and so we keep going, and I have a lovely center shot. If anyone knows what this anime is from, my heart goes out to you. You feel. Then you have Reincarnated as a Slime, where you get stabbed by a random pedestrian running in the streets like a madman. At least out of anything, his best friend that was showing off his trophy wife was Chad enough to delete your computer history by dropping it into a bathtub. Real Chad moment. Real Chad moments. And then we have poor,
Ocarina.
not Ocarina.
Baka.
No, the one at the very bottom with the blue ribbon.
Yeah, that's her nickname.
That's true. But yeah, she gets nailed by Truck-kun by trying to get home. Yeah, so this is, oh my god, I just watched this and I'm drawing a blank at half the names. I'm watching this panel.
Reincarnated
Yeah.
in the world with my smartphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I got reincarnated as the villainess.
Yeah, all flags lead to doom.
And all flags lead to doom. Yes. I just finished watching the second season. It's really good. And then you have the other guy. He ends up saving someone. So it's the very, very bottom one, actually. Very bottom corner one. He actually ends up saving a girl, but he ends up dying or something like that. It's really messed up. But he's a perv.
Have you seen the news episode of that?
No, I have not, but I have read the manga. And then we have accidental deaths. How do you get an accidental death? And this is on that bottom center one.
Oh.
Yeah, this is reincarnated with my smartphone. God effed up and dropped a lightning bolt on him. I'm like, what is this, Zeus from Hercules? Where he's doing target practice? And so apparently he drops a bolt of lightning, hits this random kid, and he's actually feeling sorry for him and apologizes. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to drop a bolt of lightning on him. That's rich coming from God. Whoop, fell off the table. Whoop, did it hit anyone? Yeah, better apologize. At least he's kind enough to apologize. There's some gods like Pontiac that just toys with him. Poor Tom.
What time is it?
Alright, so the other portion of this is getting summoned to a new world. I love this one. The overly cautious hero. Yeah. Two things. Beefcake and thirsty. Well, yeah, then you find out that they're actually together and they were about to have a child.
Yeah.
And then the Demon Lord appeared in the second round. How many boss battles have you done? And that happens exactly the case. And he comes back twice as strong. I think Persona 5 actually had a thing like that. If you had a maxed out party, the boss was as strong as that party. And it just royally, what. So, some examples of this are no game, no life, as you can clearly see. Look at my waifu. I just bought her too. Alright, then there's how not to summon a demon lord. We got two pretty girls. A little cat girl, and a busty elf. What more could we want? How about a guy that is portraying a demon lord from a video game? The funny part about this, when they summoned him, he had a magic ring that reversed the enslavement spell, causing him to be the master instead of instead of him. Then we have Rise of the Shield Hero. Woo, woo. Give a whoop whoop for him, because we actually have our voice actor here for him.
And I found out from him, we're not getting a seventh season, but we're getting a third season.
Nice! Well, thank Japan for that one. Woo! Doesn't like now we'll talk about some dark stuff. I'll leave that for another panel. So, we basically have that. He basically gets randomly summoned and asks to, actually, he's actually ignored. But the poor man gets summoned to a random world, and they don't even want him. You have the king apparently has some PTSD moments and he needs some therapy about the shield hero. And then we have, unfortunately, I have to say her by her normal name, which I'm going to refuse to say because I don't want to say it.
What are you doing with them?
I would say the other one, but I can't say it on because this is going live.
You gotta love how good she is. Not
Yes, but we
bad.
find out actually how royally she really is. Then we have the saint is omnipotent. So this one's an interesting one. Again, she's summoned against her will. Most every person summoned is summoned against their will in some form or fashion.
That would be.
Yeah, so yeah, it's actually really good. It's really sweet. So basically, two girls are randomly summoned to this world to fend off like miasma and stuff like that. And so there's two girls. There was only supposed to be one. The prince, I don't know how he did it, but he got supercharged and ended up bringing two girls. And he was trying to figure out which one is which. Guess what he chose? The cutest one, which was not her. They went with the one that looked like she was 16 instead of the 21-year-old. Yeah, she does have a point. If the situation was dire, they would get two saints.
Well, the same kind of helper.
Ah, I didn't read that far. I just mostly watched the anime. So thank you for the insight. All right, and then you have. I love this one. I keep getting the name of it, but how they get summoned is the guy gets a magical circle. He's walking home from school, and a magical circle appears in him. And his friend sees this and literally jumps in and grabs him. And fortunately, this didn't turn into Corpse Party, where only her arms come with her.
It's an Isekai cheat edition.
You don't jump in magic circles, you just let it happen. Even if you don't want it.
What's kind of great is Reincarnated slime has some of this aspect of it.
Yeah, they do actually. And that's how his wife that he gets.
Yeah.
And so basically, both of them manage to end up in the world, in this fantasy world, and they're actually freaking OP. They're OP, and apparently they have really good education in their world because they're applying a whole bunch of different stuff going on. And then we have from commonplace to OP, basically.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you put someone in a bad enough situation, they're going to dig themselves out and kick your royal butt. He does this. And he gets a lolly vampire, a horny bunny, a masochistic dragon. I think this sounds like another anime, too.
And a little girl movie.
Well, that's his daughter. No one woos his daughter.
Yeah.
That is his little girl. Alright, so basically, in a nutshell, you're usually summoned to a magical world to defeat a demon lord or some weird entity. Now, Blinking Isekai. One moment it's fair, another you are not. These are examples of Blink Isekai. Overlord. He's in his chair with his MMO game, and he closes his eyes as the final counter for this favorite MMO, Yggdrasil, goes offline. And next thing he knows, he's in his actual chair as a skeleton. And everyone has probably seen the abridged version of it, so everyone probably knows what I'm thinking right now. Where's my... Then we have Log Horizon. Apparently, they call it Apocalypse. I would call it awesome. So, I love that. My character is taller than I am. I think someone's compensating for something. Alright, so in that anime, basically, a whole bunch of people that apparently were long gone ended up getting sucked into their video game magically. Like, next thing they know, they're in there. And they're trying to learn how to play like noobs. And trust me, Log Horizon Abridged sums that up perfectly. Get wrecked. All right, and then we have, again, Death March to Another World. When you work yourself so hard that you start dreaming about a fantasy world. That then turns out to be reality because you actually feel pain. And so basically this dude ends up, this guy is an actual game designer. And so there are several things that are like a little game console that he has. And so he has these things to help out the noobs for this particular game, which are meteor showers. So when he first gets there, he sees a giant lizard army coming at him, like 10,000 strong. And he's supposed to find them off. So,
Meteor.
yeah, he actually hits all the meteors and brings basically destruction like the dinosaurs saw, and pretty much wipes out all but one lizard. He ends up proceeding to defeat said lizard after still getting his butt royally handed to him. And so that anime keeps going on. He ends up with slave girls. When it comes to Isekai, you're either going to end up with some type of harem, depending on what gender, and at that point there is no gender equality. Apparently even the female ones are getting harems of their own, of females. So we're out of luck. And then we have the most famous of all Blink Isekai, Re:Zero, where he's literally standing in front of a grocery store, and he's tired, he rubs his eyes, the next thing he knows, he sees a lizard man. And he's just like,
What did I eat?
it's like, what shrooms were in that sandwich? I need to stop getting my takeout by that streets. I think they're putting little edibles in them. So basically, it sums up, one moment you're in one place, and then another, and basically, WTF, where the heck am I? Half of us probably stayed up when we first wake up in the morning, especially after. All right, reverse Isekai. Unfortunately, the center one I have not watched yet.
One question.
Yes,
What was the third one on the last slide?
the third one on the last slide. Let me go back.
Sorry.
That was Death March to Another World. Thank you. That is from Common Taste to World's Strongest. All right.
That middle one's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I started.
Yes, it's hilarious. And that's why it's in. Yeah, so I have actually read a little bit of the manga for that one. I keep forgetting some of the names. They're really hard to say. So if anyone knows it, feel free to say it. All right. So, yes, everyone probably knows. So, first of all, what is reverse isekai? It is when fantasy becomes where the fantasy world comes to our world, and they have to live like us for a change. This is poetic justice in its finest. But the downside is they still have their powers to a degree. Most notably is the Devil's a Part-Timer, which proves Walmart, not Walmart, but McDonald's is where the real devil lies. So, we have the Demon Lord from another world working at part-time at a McDonald's. Or if any of you who's seeing Coming to America, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Then we have the most famous, which most people don't even realize,
Yeah, you don't.
Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is a reverse isekai because Toru is from another world.
It's about time returns to just a
And I just love this where they're just,
They're drunk.
they're drunk. After like pulling a sword out of her like Excalibur, I claim this dragon in the name of me.
It's drunk straight.
That's drunk straight and she has no faith in God. I think she'll get along with Tanya. And then we have this bottom scene, which probably none of you have probably seen.
It's really good.
Oh yes, it is.
I'm talking with Recreators.
Recreators.
Oh, I think I've seen the.
Yeah. This one is actually taking reverse isekai and really putting it into real world scenario. They have a part where they have a magical girl using her magical powers, and she's using it against an enemy, and it's shattering glass everywhere, and it's falling on people, and she gets traumatized because that doesn't happen in her world yet. And so all these powers and all that actually cause damage for once. And it's a very, very good anime. And so basically, reverse isekai is when they come to our world and they have to kind of live like us.
What's that?
Horror is a pretty good one.
What, the bottom one?
The bottom one, that's recreated.
Yeah, what's the other one?
Amazon Prime.
Yep.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
But it's really good if you.
Now, leading into Gate Isekai. I had to put reverse isekai first. Because reverse isekai requires the individual's own power to go from world to world. Gate Isekai is where it is a weird natural phenomenon that connects two parallel worlds together. I can summarize this as Spider-Verse. But I am not going into that tangled web, no pun intended. So, basically, Gate Isekai is connecting 2 points in a fantasy world. So the first 2 images are from none other than Gate. The self-defense force fought there. This will answer that old-timey question, what would a modern military do to the Roman Empire? With enough mortars and manpower, not looking good. But think, they have dragons. What would we have? We have phantoms. They actually use an F-4 Phantom, which is the Japanese fighter plane that they have, which is 20 years old and just retired, to defend off these fantasy things. Here's the funny thing. They're sending all these armored guys and stuff like that, and then one of the soldiers makes a crack. If we're going against such a large number of people, why are they giving us discount weapons? There's stuff that they're using that basically dates older than half the people that are using them. Meaning it's like using a musket to going into a modern battlefield. The reason why is simply, if you got a digit, I am going to have it cheap. Moving on to the other one. Well, it's actually the same one. All 3 of these are actually. The second one with dealing with the magical archers and spec of course that has clearly failed their mission. Snake! Okay, that was a good one. I'm checking that one on to do again. That one is from the Outbreak Company. So basically, you got a shut-in person that takes an anime quiz that probably 80% of us probably pass on our first try. So, he ends up passing this. And so the government, this is actually a government job, basically asked him to teach people in another world anime culture. That sounds like a pretty damn good job, if I don't say so. I'm going to teach elves, dwarves, how to make anime. I'm like, that's pretty damn cool. So these 2 last images are actually part of the same anime, just as an FYI. So she literally gets smoked. She puts her. That's the lovely little half-elf maid that he gets. Everyone would like one. And believe it or not, she's actually very, timid about that. As in, are you going to accept me because I'm a reject in every society? He freaks out and says, "I love you," almost. So basically, she gets worried when he's going back to his world. And basically, she smuggles herself through in a bag. And then when when he lifts the bag, it's like, this is a little heavier. I don't remember packing this one. And he zips it open, and that's what we see. A waifu in a bag. I think half of us probably have that in our car right now. And here's an interesting one. I love this one because they just had a 2nd season drop. And it's basically a restaurant to another world. That's literally what it is actually called. So you have a Japanese Western-style restaurant where feel like that projector's on.
It's gonna be.
Yep, that's it. Yep. Good thing I'm good at explaining stuff.
Yeah.
So, in this anime, like I said, it's a Western Japanese restaurant. He is closed on Saturdays. During Saturday, in our fantasy world, which they call the Day of Saturn, like we don't know that it's Saturday. Apparently a magical door will appear across their worlds in various weird places, desert islands, dungeons and caves where you have to fend off a horde of goblins. Let's just make sure you go with Goblin Slayer to get to that one. You have a better chance of getting to the food that way. Just leave him to go for the goblins. You can go for lunch. It's like, hey, I'm just going to grab a quick bite. You keep going with these goblins over here. Just not if you need me. So basically, these guys come into this fantasy, open this whatever random door, which you saw in like the very bottom picture on there. It's literally a random door. It literally is a random door that just pops out of nowhere. And then they open it and they see this fancy little restaurant in here. And this guy basically cooks for them. It is very interesting. And so he has a couple of girls that actually, from the other world, actually work there on Saturday. Talk about a part-time job. And literally, it only appears on Saturday. So make your reservations now. All right. Moving on. Gamer Dive Isekai. If you know what the top one is, you're naughty. If you know what the bottom one is, you have taste. If you know the other one, you're simping for someone. Or the abridged version of that. So, what is Gamer Dive Isekai? Well, it's a little different. I kind of had it added in here because I had no idea how to put SAO in here. Literally. I have no idea how to put it in here because it didn't really fit anything, but I saw a couple other animes that kind of had the similar theme going on with gaming. So, you're not trapped. You choose to be there.
Well, I mean.
In most cases.
Yeah.
In most cases. The middle one is a little bit of a mixed ground for at least season 1 and 2. All right. So, when you... Yeah, you can have fun reading that one. All right.
That one's funny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to get
I
hurt.
love the bottom one with the flying turtle
Yeah, I know.
of death.
I don't want to get hurt.
Alright, so when you deliberately dive headfirst into a new world, I think most people will do that with a pot. And immediately regret it afterwards. So basically, you are actually playing a video game. In some way or fashion. Whether it's dive or you're in here, but I should have probably added Digimon in here because it apparently would fit in this. So
I mean,
yes,
it's very
Digimon
technical.
would be considered a dive or game
I was
one.
gonna say, I mean, for some, when Summon also worked, especially for season 1, since they were like chosen. So they got Summon.
Probably. It might go with the first one. But yeah. But they're choosing to go in that one. Then, so the first one is, do you love your mother's double hits, double combo? It's actually how much do you love your mom's double combo, power punch and stuff. It's a very, very long title in English and in Japanese. So do forgive me for basically butchering it. So I'm trying to say bobo bow. You either add one too many bows or one too many bows. So, and starting with that one, basically, he is going to a fantasy world. Apparently, he fills out a seminar on how well he gets along with his mom. How many of you, with a show of hands, actually get along with your mom? That's actually a good number. I'm happy. Working for everyone else, please work on that. This is a very, very close time. Unless they're toxic, then they need therapy.
Yeah.
Probably everyone in this room needs therapy in some way or fashion.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, we're all perfect here.
No, I'm perfect everywhere.
Alright, so basically, with that little comment, this show basically has it's basically parent bonding time. Or in this case, mommy bonding time. And in this case, with these two, it doesn't sound too bad. But in the beginning of the anime, they actually have it where he's actually a pretty good son. And so, why would they want them any closer? Wink, wink. Yeah, they're applying some other stuff here. If any of you went to my 18 plus panel, yeah, I had a scene in there with slime and some choice dialogue words that I dare repeat until this thing turns into an 18 plus. So, yeah, that's that anime. How much closer do you want to get to your son or daughter?
Not that close.
Yeah, not that close. Then we have Dot Hack Sign. Yeah,
Not X series.
pretty much I'm going to include the entire Dot Hack series.
I love that series.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah. Tsukasa basically got you know what. Then we find out he's a girl.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how he got trapped in there in the first place. Alright. And basically the flying turtle, I am just going to call it Wolverine, because, I didn't want to get hurt, so I maxed out my defense.
She is so
hilarious.
Number 3.
I kind of feel for the admins, but I think they're target fixated. They're focusing too much on Maple and nerfing her.
They're weird about it too.
I mean, they actively nerf her. It gets to the point where that could be bullying and harassment.
Yeah.
She's just playing the game.
That's your broken game.
Yeah, she is playing your broken game.
Demon.
Then we have like SAO for like majority of the time. You are basically trapped in here, and you're basically Sword Art Online. A bridge sums it up perfectly. Scanner. Good analogy. Good use it.
I'm gonna tag that for later.
I'm gonna tag that for later. And then we have that train wreck of a anime. It's when the video game is basically more realistic than real life. And as hard. You think in video games, you make one F up. You can always reset. Not in this anime. You have to play through from that point onward. And trust me, some of the situations that he got out were probably not the best situations, but it helped. One is wetting himself while being tortured. He literally gets poked in the leg and he pees himself. And apparently the chick that looks like she needs a little bit more clothing actually gets turned on. And she calls him his little bedwetter. But he earns her respect, and basically she actually protects him because she wants to cut him up more and see if he wets himself again. And I'll get what I get and to get out of the bad situation.
Yeah. What you do.
Alright. It's like those weird commercials you see for those Wizard 101. Are you a boy or are you a girl? And in this case I added, are you a good guy or a bad guy? Boy or girl or a monster?
Yes.
Yes.
Bottom one.
The top and bottom ones are monsters.
This is the bottom one is just yes for all questions.
The bottom one?
Yeah, it's just yes.
Well, I would say more psychotic, but the top one is a literal monster.
I was gonna say, the bottom one is both a boy and a girl,
Yeah.
and she's
What do you
also a
mean?
monster.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's a monster in war.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the two sides of
Apparently
horse
the
is
guy
like being
basically
in that.
says she's a demon in a little girl's body. She's half right.
The devil of the forest.
Devil of the ride, more like it. So basically that, for anyone, that is the saga of Tanya the Evil. It basically takes a 30-year-old man that has a really interesting conversation with God upon his imminent demise from someone he just fired. Sounds like someone held a grudge. And all he did was his job. His boss told him to fire him. Not him. He just did his job. And what did he get for it? Got pushed in front of a train. And then God immediately stops time. Yeah, that's where you beg the question. You're God, and an omnipotent figure that doesn't interfere in our world. Why are you interfering now? And so he has a very riveting conversation with this being X that he refers to, because he doesn't believe this is God. Why would God interfere? And so he basically had an interesting conversation, blah, 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 and things led to him being reincarnated as a little girl with the notion of, if I put you in a bad enough situation, you'll start believing in God. I think that sounds like the Catholic Church in some way or fashion. You don't believe in God? I'll make you believe in God.
He's very literal with that too.
And this one is literally the case.
I was gonna say, if you read the light novel, God sounds really childish.
Actually, in the manga, they actually make him look out to be like Zeus.
Yeah.
Which makes so much more why he's messing with him.
Yeah.
Because it has the whole pantheon of gods and stuff like that. And so basically, yeah, so basically to sum up everything, you literally can be anything and to be an Isekai protagonist. You can be a quiet shut-in that turns into someone that's very knowledgeable and wants to work in a library, which apparently a book will cost an arm and a leg, or working for the church. You see what I'm coming in here, people? There's a lot of church stuff going on with Japanese animation or some unknown
You can
reason.
run your country and fight the church.
Yeah, or you could run the country and fight the church. That would shoot you in a nutshell,
I was
basically.
gonna say, that's also slime here at some point.
Yeah.
Rimaruism, everyone. Rimaruism.
I like the figure.
Alrighty. So, basically, yeah. You could be a guy trapped in a little girl's body. That has a whole new meaning to gender equality in that case. Because he's literally a full-grown man trapped in a Wally's body. And due to his poor conditions for growing up, he stays tiny. Technically, that works well when you're an aerial weapon of death. You're hard to hit.
And fast.
And fast. And for some unknown reason, when you start praying to God, you get OP powers.
Oh, yeah.
There's one anime that actually sounds good. When that was, God, what was that one? It's like he was raising little slime balls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was like raising little slime balls. It was this like big buff guy, and he ends up dying in his sleep because he bumps his head against his desk board. No, that one is a summoning one. That's awesome. He German suplex the freak out of the princess. Now that's a panty shot for a week. Then she actively tries to get revenge on that poor man. And all he wants to do is open a pet shop. So he's getting all these random monster creatures and he's trying to raise them. So, like I said, you can pretty much be anything and anything. Even from when you are a complete zero. There are several new Isekai animes that just came out this semester. I'm trying to figure out what time it is. Who has a watch?
342.
3:42. So I got a few more minutes as you are my captive audience.
Goodbye.
Nope, captive audience.
Wait, you said this was Isekai 101? I had to be at chemistry?
Yep, okay, pop quiz basically. I have no idea. I'm kind of winging it here at this point. After this slide, I think everything is done. All right. Let's see. Pop quiz. What anime is this from?
No game, no life.
What?
Zero.
Yeah. I made it obvious with that one. All right. So yeah, there are a lot of isekai genres out there. And it's very, very difficult to actually pinpoint. There's like several that are like time travel.
There's some weird ones.
Very weird ones. Like for instance, I was trying to figure out, is Inuyasha an isekai?
I mean,
Technically, she goes through a portal to a fantasy world, but it's still Japan. But there's demons and everything still. So I'm like, is this like alternate history or what?
It's a gate. It's a gate.
I would think it would be considered a negate anime.
Yeah. There's
So she still meets the criteria. So, as I'm still killing time here, let's start talking to people about what are their favorite anime. So raise your hands, people. What was some of your favorite isekais? Yeah, favorite Isekais. All right, you and the mask up front here
Yeah.
with the S.
One of the new ones I really like has been I've been killing slimes for 300 years.
That is a very good one.
I've been killing slimes for 300 years and accidentally hit max level.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Those
love the
ones
goddess
keep
in that
life.
one.
Yeah.
I love the goddess. She picks out her body, which apparently she has a fetish of any cop 16-year-old.
Yeah, she's like, can I
She's
get-
a pedo,
He's like,
people. She is a pedophile.
Can I have an older body? No, I like this one better.
Yeah, it's like, can I stay young and youthful forever? You got it.
I
But
didn't
I
mean
get to
this-
pick your body.
I
And
didn't
you're
mean this
stuck
young.
like that.
I didn't mean this young.
Yeah, and actually there's an episode in that actually she does turn into a little girl.
That's fun.
Yeah.
All right, next. Who's next? You in the whites, full white.
Now, I read so many things that I stopped remembering most names, but there's one where the guy gets summoned, and so he's supposed to be given powers from different from just one god or goddess,
Oh,
and one of them just straight plumps into the ground with, you know.
Oh yeah, that lunar one. Oh my God, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's basically yeah.
That was.
Let's just say his god from his world actually is a true Chad because apparently in that anime
they had agreed.
his parents agreed because they're from that world that whenever something arrives they would basically be able to
send one of their kids there.
send one of their kids.
One.
And so he chose basically himself instead of his two sisters that he was worried about. And so he ends up going into place. Let's just say he's not an unattractive character. He's not ugly. He's not ugly.
He has misfortune that went over.
Yeah, he's like what you would consider normal looking. For once, we actually get a normal looking character. Not too ugly, not too handsome. It's a little middle ground. But apparently the goddess in that fantasy world thought he was ugly as hell and didn't want him anywhere near her people. And so she flung him to literally the corner of the earth, of the planet. And the only thing she gave him was the ability to talk to the demons and all the other animals. So basically, he's God, what was that? No, it's like when you can talk to Dr. Doodle. He's like Dr. Doodle.
But they're all saying.
But he can all understand them, but he can't speak the people's language. And they all think he's a monster because he's like super OP, but apparently his stats are broken because he keeps saying he's level 1. When he clearly is like level 10,000. Something's not right. I think it's the goddesses. Alright, next. You in the black up front.
There's one it's as far as I know, it's only a manga, but I guess that became the mother of the great demon king's 10 children in another world.
Ah,
And
yes.
it's hilarious because there's just all these random ways of how she becomes pregnant with the kids. It was never through actual intercourse. It's like she eats a cookie and now she's pregnant.
Wow, what was in that cookie? That reminds me of that Socks anime with love nectar. Alright, who's next? Who else? You in the back end with the pink belly.
Some might debate whether or not this counts as an isekai, but I consider it one. Angel Beats.
I would actually not count that as an isekai due to the fact that there's actually an actual afterlife. That would be like Bleach. This is still technically part of the world leading into their afterlife. So this is like limbo. This is like if you're watching like hell animes or something like that.
Otherwise, I would choose Carlton Children are coming from another world.
That would be definitely. I was actually trying to figure out how would that one go in, because it's on which that was, because it was basically a plane crash. So I'm thinking they fell through a portal or something. I guess they were flying through the Bermuda Triangle or something. They're coming to America to help us out, and basically it just. Whoop. There was actually a panel probably like that last night. All right, who's next? You in the black shirts.
The Familiar Zero.
The Familiar of Zero. Yes. would be a good example of a summons anime, where she epically fails at summoning her familiar. She doesn't literally, it doesn't just appear. 'Cause the weird thing is, he sees his magic portal, and the first thing you do, apparently, when you see a magic portal, is touch it. Two things can happen. You disintegrate, because your whole body has just touched antimatter, and you are now oblivion. Or you get sent to a fantasy world, and you basically are MIA at that point. Who knows? Or KO'd, depending on which world. All right, who's next? Sword Art.
It's a new one, it's called How a Realistic Hero Rebuilds a Kingdom.
Ah, yes. When you get summoned to the world to literally fix your entire country's financial situation. I don't think a single politician can fix that problem. They'll probably make it worse. At least the king in that world was smart enough to realize, I can't do this. Can you help me, sir? It was better off than being sold off. But yeah, that is actually a really good one. It's very good, actually. And it dives into a real world building scenario. This is like Farmville Isekai edition.
Alright, it's about 10
Alright,
till.
who's next?
Hey, Wesley, it's about 10 till.
Oh, that was getting close, so you're gonna probably be the last one.
Mine is also a manga series, but From Far Away, or Kurakura, which is an old shoujo from Viz. I don't know if you've heard of
I
it.
don't think I actually have heard of that.
It's about a girl who, it's sort of like a combination of summon and reincarnation, where there's a bomb that goes off, and they're like, why didn't you find her body? And they're like, there was no body there. But it was because she'd been summoned simultaneously, and she's like the chick that can awaken the sky demon. And the sky demon is like, I don't want to be awakened. I'm going to kill her. And then he sees her and he's like, shit. She's like, this barely graduated high school girl is very innocent and naive and nuclear. I thought it was gonna be like
I think I've heard something similar.
It's a good one. It's a good one. It's my favorite. It's the only manga I own every single novel of.
Yeah. So basically, as I leave off, I'm going to say one more Isekai anime. And that is, and you can believe me or not, if you watch till the very end, it technically classifies as an Isekai. Ikizuku Reviewers is an Isekai. So if you can manage to find a magic portal somewhere, hope to God it's there. And you get to literally go to the magic land that everyone wants. Thank you, everyone, and that's the Isekai 101 panel. Thank you very much. See you next year. If not, I'll try to live stream it again.
Spirited Away deserves to be mentioned.
Have you seen the new trailer for the vampire?
Yes.